Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you again. So, we're live today again on this wonderful episode of the cast. We are so grateful to have our guest already in the studio, and like I promised you last Thursday, that we're going to have an amazing day again this Thursday. And today we are following up from our last discussion last Thursday on personal growth. Today we are looking on visions. We are looking at distractions, and we are going to look at a lot of things. We are going to hear amazing stories of our guests and how he overcame his challenges, how he succeeded in the business of coaching and all that. He has an amazing story to tell us. So I want you to share this video and tell your friends that we are already live on today's episode. So I want to introduce our guest. Is somebody I love so much, somebody I have come to work with, somebody I've had the privilege of being in his meetings, and today we have one of the top coaches in Nigeria and beyond, who has an amazing podcast that has gone abroad. Is somebody that has done an amazing work. Of course, we're also going to see one of his amazing books at the end of the session. So I want to welcome Mr. Adegoke Omotola, the CEO of First Degree Consulting, also John Maxwell certified coach. Sir, you are welcome to the studio. Welcome so much. Welcome. We love you and we thank you for coming.
Thank you, my brother, my friend. It's such a great honor being on your platform. I've been looking forward to this session, and it's such an honor. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. And like I said to the audience, I've followed you for some time, just a little time, or the little time I've known you, it's been amazing. I will tell you that. And I've followed your work, and I've seen, of course, the amazing things that God has used it to do. Of course, in case you don't know, he's also a pastor in the Redeemed Christian Church of God. So that is double honor, double honor to have him on board. Thank you very much
Wow.
again.
Wow.
Thank you.
I'm,
Thank
I'm
you.
just I'm just trying to share this on my page, you know, uh,
Okay.
so
Okay.
that. Or do you want to share it, or should I share it?
No, you can share it. You can. You're the only one that can share it on your page.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Yes.
your page.
I'm so grateful for this privilege, and to those who are listening from all over the world. This man that I'm sharing the platform with is a good friend. Is massive on adding value, and we're just sharing tonight experiences. I mean, I'm amazed at what God is using him to do, even at such a time as this. So um, it's a privilege and honor being here tonight.
Thank you
So
very.
yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Adegoke. Thank you so much. All
Yes,
right.
yes.
All right. Today we are bringing to you a topic on visions and, of course, distractions. We are going to look at what vision is and what vision is not, and the myths about visions. And of course, we're also going to be looking at distractions, things that have made people who had great vision but they never achieved it because of
Yeah.
one distraction or the other. And also, we're going to look at some of those distractions, and then we're going to hear the story of our guest. Okay, so let's open up this discussion by asking our guest to briefly tell us what he thinks or what he knows vision as.
Well, thank you so much, my brother. Vision basically is the ability to see, um, and not just to see and be able to bring things to life. A lot of
Okay.
people are seeing, but even the scripture says that the poor and the rich they see, but what happens is that the rich see possibilities, but the poor see impossibilities. And with the pandemic, so much has happened. Those that were seen are no longer seen properly anymore because of the disruption. So, vision basically is the ability to see, and to see to translate into results. Yes,
Wow, thank you very much.
thank you.
So you said yeah, because of the pandemic, a lot of people are no longer seeing again because It has caused a lot of disruption. It has caused a lot of disruption. Of course, like what people held on to as vision has been tested, and some of them has been shaken a lot. Some of them has even been they've shaken it away, and right now they're having challenges with all those stuff. And it's amazing for you to mention that. Let's look at that again. This whole disruption, how it affected the vision of individual visions, organizational visions. Let's discuss around that. What do you have to tell somebody who walked up to you and is now telling you that, man, what I was seeing before, I'm not sure is holding water again because things are no longer normal.
Well, we call it a new normal now. It's
Yeah.
there's what they call the VUCA. It's the world in the business environment. You say it's volatile, uncertain, complex, and the situation is also ambiguous. That's
Mm,
the VUCA world. We're in a VUCA world right now. And for those who are before the pandemic, uh, there was a normal situation. We have a new normal. For us, it's an ongoing crisis, and thankfully, both of us are members of the John Maxwell team, and he shared with us leading through crisis. And one of the
yes.
things about crisis is that leaders come out even stronger during crisis. This crisis
Exactly.
has consumed quite a number of people. Uh, some people are still in the business environment, but they've lost most of their customers. We're in an environment now where we're recalibrating by the minute, not
Mm,
even by the hour. You know,
mm,
things even in the business environment in Nigeria, you see what is happening with the CBN. The CBN came out with a policy on forex, and in the last 48 hours, even those who were well established as BDCs are having to recalibrate now. And the CBN is saying that banks will come up with apps. The
mm,
CBN is refunding BDCs. I mean, so, with the licensing fees, so much is happening all over, not just limited to Nigeria, but also
yeah.
globally. But it's not a time to get overwhelmed. That's why you need a coach, you need a mentor at a time like this. And you also need to be in an environment where, there's so much positive, uh, news coming out rather than negative. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. A lot of people were taken unawares. In fact, when the pandemic came up and when John Maxwell asked us to go through that leading through crisis, I had the opportunity of doing making some research, and I found out that, of course, what we saw last year it wasn't new per se,
Mm,
because we don't really study history. It shook the world. I found out that we have had Spanish flu, we have had swine flu. In fact, I saw that pandemics and epidemics have dated way back, even in Bible days, and I also found out that a lot of has happened that was so similar to what we saw last year, where stadiums were
mm,
shut down, churches were shut down, restaurants were shut down, and all that. So I started asking myself, since this thing is not new, we have to now study how these people overcame theirs,
mm,
because that will also give you a key. In fact, somebody
mm.
says something that if you are a student of prophecy, you have to be a student of history, because majority
Yes,
of the things that happens to us have already
has
happened in the
happened
time
before.
past.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so when we look at vision and the challenges that comes with it, we can actually pick up some people and study it. Of course,
Mm,
one of the things I did on my podcast is to look at leadership stories of people in the past or even present, how they overcame challenges, some of the small decisions they made that took their business to another level. Now, let's
mm,
discuss on this. Let's look at what are the challenges that somebody who had vision, who set out and he was, inspired, wanted to do something, and then some challenges came up. Can I look at some of these challenges people normally have when they have vision? Somebody wants to start a business, he wants to start a family, and then he hit this rock, and the next thing he wants to give up and believe that this is not feasible, it can't work again.
Well, I just want to, maybe should I use myself as the example or just use the scripture? But I
You
believe
can go
that
ahead.
it's always good to speak from experience.
Yes.
For example, I work for myself. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a leadership coach, customer
Mm,
service. Been privileged to write books. Still, adding value. Uh, you know, from time to time. Well, what has happened is that when I set out with entrepreneurship, the journey, I thought it was going to be, you know, something that will be a walk in the park. But as I set out, the first few years was very turbulent.
mm,
That I almost went back into paid employment. But the vision was very clear. I mean, this vision was not from me. God was the one that gave me the vision. I left my comfort zone, and decided to go into, a new territory. The new territory was very volatile because for the first 6 months I didn't earn a naira or a
mm,
dime, and being a married man with a family, that was very tough. So when you set out, when you have a vision, everything seems very fuzzy initially. It's very vague. A lot of people say, "Oh, you have a business plan." Oh, it's true that you have business plan, but even for those who had business plan during the pandemic, now they have had to shred everything and adopt a new strategy. But it's all about also you know going on your inside and trusting that God will just see you through. Um, I usually say that focus and vision. They're like Siamese twins.
mm,
Once you have a vision, you must also be focused because there will
mm,
be a lot of distractions that will come in the way. Some
mm,
things will look very nice. It's not everything that glitters that is gold.
mm,
Um, but you must have values that you stand for. Because if you don't have those values, for example, someone that is not value driven, everything will seem like an opportunity.
mm.
But it's not everything that comes, every opportunity that comes that is really authentic.
Of course.
But there's so many things that come around, starting. For a lot of people, they even have a big vision. Maybe they're in paid employment, they try to, pivot, but they're scared. What is likely to happen? How am I going to feed my family? How am I going to build a brand? Who do I know? Where am I going to get support? Uh, so those issues will come up. But I like to say that the most important thing is to receive the clarity, because once you receive clarity and you have clarity, it helps you. I usually say focus is follow one course until successful.
Yeah.
A lot of people that have vision, when you look at Microsoft, Steve Jobs, is it Amazon, Jeff Bezos, even locally here, um, you see that they have a story. There's no glory without a story. People just think that you just show up overnight. No, you can't be, an overnight. There's nothing like overnight success. It is
Mm,
because some people have decided to make sacrifices uh, in their journey, and those sacrifices sometimes they lose a lot while trying to build up that message. They lose friends, they lose dignity, they lose, a sense of self-esteem sometimes because nobody will validate you once you start out.
mm.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, you're going to. It's going to be a lonely walk, very quite painful, but eventually, as things begin to add up, you show up again and again, consistently,
Mm.
and you follow through, and eventually it will work out. So let me just stop here for now so that you can I know you have a lot of questions, so
Some of my questions will be changing per time because as you
it's
are
okay.
talking, as you are talking, I'm pulling out some things.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah,
mentioned something when you were talking about value and then opportunity.
yeah.
Something came to my mind that, of course, I think I can say with every certainty that one of the things that makes vision to last or endure the times is where that vision is value driven.
Hmm.
That's when you made mention of that, it just came to my mind.
Yeah.
And what that means is that let's even bring it locally because virtually most things we call visions in Nigeria are people who are seeking for opportunities and not value driven.
Hmm.
And sometimes when visions are born out of this opportunist mindset, they tend not to last. One of the guests I had on this show one day told us that it's been proven that Nigerians, their span in business mindset lasts doesn't stay more than 3 months, an average
Yeah.
Nigerian. And I think this is one of the reasons because of this opportunity mindset and
Hmm.
not value driven mindset. Let's really stay a little bit on that value driven because it
Yeah.
has the thing is just playing on my head now that visions can last longer, withstand tests when they are
Hmm.
value driven.
Hmm.
Throw more light on this, please.
Well, I'm a man of faith, and I wouldn't be here, if not for the grace of God. I'm
Mm,
still on a journey. I'm work in progress. I have a story to tell, but I wouldn't say that I've arrived yet. But at least I have a story to tell. Now, the scripture tells me that Daniel chapter one, Daniel refused to eat, a purpose in his heart that will not defile himself. When you purpose, that means you have values, you have things that you stand for, you know, things that drive you from within. So Daniel was not faced by what the king, was offering him. But at the end of the day, he stood his ground, and the same scripture says that Daniel, he refused to eat delicacies given by the king. And eventually, Daniel's skin was even more glowy, it was shining more than others. There's always a test of your values as you go along. Compromise will want to come in, and it's on a daily basis. So, and those are the things that truncate a vision. For example, you start out and you say this is what you want to do. Maybe you want to become an entrepreneur, and somewhere along the line, you are offered a very juicy job. And so when you get that job, what happens is that you have to abandon your vision. You have to put it aside because even if you try to do certain things, they say it's conflict of interest. So that's on one part. So, but if I can also go back to the scripture, if you look at David and Goliath, David, David, when he heard what was happening, you know, in the battlefield. Bible says he heard them, when Goliath was ranting and so on and so forth. So the first thing about vision, which is also, like I said, focus is the hidden driver of excellence. You have to be focused because if you're not focused, you'll be distracted from your vision. And
mm,
so David was, he was so focused, he was laser focused. And the first thing that, if I can use an acronym, the first thing that happened to David was he was able to follow his own reason. He was able to follow his dream. People have dreams, but ability to follow it through.
mm,
It's not for you to be speaking and saying, "Oh, I remember when I was in paid employment. I had a colleague who was always talking about, oh, when she starts her business, oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen." But eventually, that my colleague couldn't make that move. You have to find a reason to do what you want to do. There must be that conviction from within. Because if the conviction is not there, you live a life of just procrastination. I was with a colleague, speaking on my leadership talk with Adegoke, and the lady was talking about, a passion, passion or profit, that if it's one thing to, when you want to live a life of passion, um, it's based on what you can get. But if you want to live a life of profit, it's about legacy. So any vision that is going to last must be a, a vision that is tied around legacy. It's a vision that is tied around, you know, helping others. It's a vision that is tied around, you know, being a person that would, outlive even just basic things. And so for David, David had a reason. He wasn't going there because he wanted to get all the accolades, but he wanted to help others, to achieve success. My One of my mentors is late now, Zig Ziglar, says that you can get everything you want in life if you help enough people get what they want. So what the vision should be around, it shouldn't just be about you. What we're doing tonight is vision driven. We're not just here because we want to make noise, but we just want to speak to as many people as possible. And maybe just one person out there might listen to us and run with what we're saying. So the first one is to find your own reason. Find your own reason so that you won't just be a copycat. Because when you copy other people, you find out that you run out of steam. I'm just running my own race. I'm not looking to the left. I'm not looking to the right. Paul said in Philippians chapter 3, verse 12, he said, I press on. I press on. So vision comes with a lot of discomfort. So follow your own reason. Then F is follow your own reason. O, is own, take ownership. Anything that you don't take ownership, it's easy to be an employee because if they don't pay you, you can decide to abandon that place and move on to somewhere else. But if you're working for yourself, like some of us, you can't abandon you can't abandon your vision.
How to
You know,
die in it.
yeah, yes, it's either you perish or yes. So so you have to just stay there. So I went to speak in an organization recently, and they were complaining that they have not been well taken care of. If you are an entrepreneur, who do you complain to? So you have to take ownership.
Yeah,
So and so that's the O. So but the next one is C, which is I'm talking about focus now on that vision. The C, you know, is to um, be able to, have a consistent mindset, which is to be consistent. Um, because it's one thing for you to appear today and tomorrow nobody sees you. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Once you have a vision, you're gonna have to show up, even days that you don't feel like showing up. And so David was just out there, irrespective of what happens. He received a lot of rejection from even his brothers, who were in Saul's army. They were able to were about to push him down and tell him to keep quiet. But David was consistent. The vision was just pushing him. It was driving him, and he wasn't ready to take no for an answer. So that's the C. Then the U, which is is understand your distractions. When I first started entrepreneurship, there were some places I would go to, and they would tell me, you know, entrepreneurship is very bad. You can't succeed. Uh, this is likely to happen. That's like so. You find out that if you hang around certain people, you will not be able to get to where you're going.
yeah, you're
All
right.
right. So you have to avoid certain people. Even the Bible says that seest thou a man that walketh in the counsel of the ungodly, as seated is, you know, in the sight of sinners. Sinners, it doesn't necessarily mean those who are doing bad things, but
Mm,
sinners could be people that want to distract you, you
mhm,
know. because it's not everybody that is able to do what you're doing.
mm,
So you must be focused. You must understand your distractions. That is the you. And the final thing, the final, you know,
later.
word I want to talk about S. You must, see the big picture. You must
Yeah.
always see the big picture.
Mm,
So follow your dreams. Take ownership. Be consistent. Understand distractions. Then see the big picture. What are you seeing? What are you seeing? So you must see clearly. Because if you don't see the big picture, you can pack it up. There have been people that have packed up just before, as they were supposed to get into that place of, enlargement and see things happen. They just
mm,
packed it up too early. So
mm.
let me just stop there
Mm,
for
thank
now.
you, thank you, thank you, thank you for that acronym and the meaning you gave to it. Thank you so much. I'm going to pull two from it and we're going to look at that again.
Thank you.
Consistency.
Yeah,
Consistency. In fact, this is a magic word. And I can tell you that this is one of the greatest challenges of any visionary.
yeah,
Anybody who has ideas and goals or dreams. In fact, let me make it even simple. When you see people who are social media driven, maybe somebody is selling shoes on social media and he's not consistent on his sales.
Hmm.
Organic now, posting products, talking to people and all that. What I wrote down here is that consistency definitely leads to more and more engagement. I wrote
Yeah,
it down.
yeah,
And that stood out for me also. That consistency is the way to go when it comes to your dream or your vision or your goal or your idea.
yeah.
So let's tell people more about this word consistency. Consistency. How can you be consistent? How can you stay even when every other thing is telling you to do this, do that? In fact, today I was just thinking about
Thinking
something.
through. Yeah, yeah,
Just like you have a jack of all trades. I
yeah,
think there should be people like jack of all visions, and that is just causing lack of consistency, lack of
yeah,
focus,
yeah.
and they are not consistent in one thing. They are
Hmm.
just there trying to grab and
Yeah.
grab and grab. Let's advise people on this also again on consistency, staying there until something happens.
Thank you so much. That's a very good question. I've been challenged on a number of occasions. As to how to remain consistent. Sometimes I feel like just abandoning, you know, the idea. But when I remember the reason, just like David, I found his own reason. There was clarity. I don't want to be. I want to be Goke. I don't want to be John. I don't want to be Philip. I don't want to be. You know. I, I just want to. I just want to be myself, and that's the most challenging thing for a lot of people, to be consistent, because there's a lot of noise out there. There's so much noise. A
So
lot
much.
of noise. Yeah, there's so much noise, and we're in a state, an environment where there's so much competition.
Mm,
And so if you don't know your reason, if you have not found your reason, it's not too late. So when you look at consistency, I would like to say that it's a breakfast of champions. There's no champion today, or even in the past. When you looked at Daniel, in Daniel chapter 5, verse 12, it says that inasmuch as an excellent spirit was found in Daniel, in fact, he was getting referrals. He was getting referrals. When you look at David, when you look at Elijah, you look at Elisha, and talking about, even modern day champions, you look at, you know, uh, you look at, is it iPhone, the app, is it Apple, you
yeah.
know, all their devices. They don't do sales. They don't go into sales. When you look at Rolls Royce, you look at Coca Cola. These are brands that have, whether recession or Microsoft. They've stood the test of time. They're consistent. And so consistency comes with a lot of challenge. It comes with sacrifice. You have to stay the course. You have to be clear about where you're going. You have to know what you stand for. Just like I said, your values. Your values is what helps you to remain committed to your commitment. You know, yeah. So you have to be committed to your commitment. That's what I learned from one of my friends, Karen Calhoun, was on my show on Leadership Talk with Adegoke. If those of you who are listening here on my Leadership Talk with Adegoke podcast, Leadership and Purpose, and she said that you have to be committed to your commitment. If not, um, you'll be distracted. And she was also using the analogy of, a book, that if you keep it in the shelf for so much time, that will gather a lot of dust. But once you want to bring it out, the dust will begin to, disperse. And what she said there is that, you know, once you begin to stand for something, you get a lot of resistance. The dust is what is the resistance. And if you are not sure of where you're going, you just abandon consistency. You say this today and say that tomorrow. Like I said, follow one course until you're successful. In this speaking business, we've been speaking. Sometimes, I mean, I have seminars, and only one person will turn up, in addition to my wife. And I've arranged the whole place. Nobody will turn up to listen. So, you know, but I still give my best. I still give my best as if I'm talking to 500 people. So it's a journey. Like I said, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. I don't want to be an overnight success, because those things, there's nothing like that. Let's just be frank with ourselves. Uh, they say Rome was not built in a day. Nothing good comes, on a platter of gold. So for those who find it very challenging to be consistent, that's where you need a coach. You need an accountability partner. I'm someone that I don't move around alone. I work in a community. I have quite a number of friends, including yourself. I reach out to you. Sometimes I put you under pressure. You put me under pressure. I remind you of what you said, your promises to yourself, and I don't avoid accountability partners. I go out deliberately to get people to challenge me, and so it helps you to be consistent. Every top athlete has a coach or a mentor.
yeah,
That's what helps you to be
yeah.
consistent, because the average person, even when you set those goals, sometimes you just feel like, look, I don't want to move on anymore. But like I said, when you remember your reason, you stay focused and you stay there. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. When you were talking about how you put up a show, and one person came, it reminded me of a story of my friend. He told me, he said, see, I spent 2.5 million naira to book a hall in Radisson Blue in Victoria Land,
Yeah.
and did this sponsored ad, did advertisement, everything. And on
Hmm.
that day, three people came. The
Wow. That's
fee, he said
successful.
the fee was 50,000 naira, and when he saw that people weren't paying, he brought it down to 20, 25 to
Wow.
20. And at the end of the day, three people came. And he said, just like you said, he said he poured his heart to these three people, and
Yeah.
everybody left. Everybody left. He said 2 weeks later, one of them called him and said to him, he said he didn't even have the profile of the people that came, just their names and their email address and phone number. So one of them called him and said, "Can you go to what's the name of I think Rwanda?" He said, Kigali, yes. Can you go to Kigali? And the guy said, "To do what?" He said, "For a retreat." He said,
Wow.
"Yes, he can go." And then of course, they The lady now called. The lady said, "Okay, send us your data page." And that was how he didn't even ask them the fee. He jumped into the process and went to Kigali and came back with, I think he said he came back with either $3,000 or $5,000. And that, he said to me, if he had canceled the meeting when he saw three people, because maybe he was expecting 50 or 100, that would have been a failure.
Hmm.
But he consistently followed through, and that provided an engagement for him, and I love that so much. And of course,
Hmm.
another story was the gym, the place I'm using as my gym. A lady walked up to my coach, my fitness coach, and said to him, uh, "I want you to, I want a flat tummy, nice body in 2 weeks. I'm ready to pay you any amount." And the guy looked at her and said, "It's not the money, it's the time." And then it's going to be he said to the lady again, consistency and time. He said, "But I'll tell you, even if you are consistent for the next 2 weeks, it's not just the time. It won't just be consistency now. You have to give time." The lady said, "No, 2 weeks." And the lady transferred, and they agreed on their money, and the lady transferred the money to the guy. And she came that day, the next day, and she didn't come again, and the money expired. Now, that day I just told myself, so this thing is not just that we are saying it to people, talking to people about consistency and time, your vision, giving your vision time. It happens every day. Let's look at that time. We have looked at consistency now. Why are people so impatient with their dreams, with their visions, with their goals? Is a concern to me, because they start today, and the next thing they are out again. Is it that they are not seeing the big picture? Is it that they are victims of the immediate? They are victims of today, and not tomorrow. They are victims of what they can grab now. Like you said, they are just opportunity seeking people. Let's look at that. Let's look at vision and timing.
Hmm. Well, I was with one of my colleagues, one of our fellow John Maxwell team colleagues,
Mm.
Patrina Wet, uh, Onoha, and she said that productivity is the outcome of consistent results.
Consistent results.
Yes, consistent. That's productivity. So meaning that you have to be consistent before you can have productivity. Uh,
Mm.
it's still, that's to stay the course. That's where it's the game changer.
Yes.
And you can even start a business. You can start a business. You can start uh, an idea, but to see it through, that's where the real work is.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and like I said, you need to get into a network. You need to get into uh, some kind of system. You need to follow the system. A framework. There's a framework for consistency. There's a framework for productivity. And so if you break those principles, you can't jump from 1 to 5. You know,
Mm.
yes, you have to follow through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you jump from 1 to 3, and from you want to jump from 3 to 5, it's not going to work. Even if you have $10 million, you invest it and say, look, I'm an entrepreneur. You have to build structure. You have to build your people. You have to, even build your mindset, because you'll be tested, showing up. You have to engage. And so if you run out of patience, it's not going to work. A lot of people are not patient enough to realize that it's a journey. It's a journey, and this journey, you have to keep on showing up. You have to keep on. Sometimes you'll be discouraged, sometimes you'll be encouraged, but it's all part of the process. You know, um, you just have to enjoy the process. That's what I tell myself. Sometimes when things are not working, I just say enjoy the process, because the process is part of your story.
Yeah.
People want to listen to how you were able to, you know, stay focused. They don't want
Mm,
to know how you just made it.
mm,
What were the, the pitfalls? How did you navigate? How did you recalibrate? How did you keep on, staying the course? Even in spite of all the challenges. And so this is very important. When you look at it, and who are your friends, your networks, who are those that speak into your life, who are those that validate you. um, it's very important, because if you walk around very toxic people, you just find that a good idea, you might just abandon it. And so
yeah.
it's very important to realize that, and you can't give what you don't have. You must also be ready to invest in yourself. A lot of people, I was listening to a gentleman who is, you know, quite successful, and was saying today that, when you know, analyze for too long, it can lead to paralysis. A lot of people are always analyzing. They're always, going through, what if this happens? You have to take a risk on yourself. If you're not ready to take, there's something called brand equity. You know, yeah, when you talk about personal branding, what have you invested in yourself? That's what you bring to the market, and people will buy into your message. But if they find out that you are very weak, you're very lean on the ground, nobody will invest in you. Just like we're showing up tonight, there will be some people that want the replay. There'll be some people that will listen to the podcast and say, look, these two gentlemen, it seems they know what they're talking about, because it's about substance. It's not about just making a lot of noise. You have to go deep on your inside. You have to be able to be resilient, in spite of all the challenges. David was resilient, Daniel was resilient, Joseph was resilient. Even when he was in the prison, he still held on to his vision. What he saw the big picture. He saw himself, as someone that was going to be an achiever in future. His present situation did not determine what, his ability to see. Some people, when they look at their present situation, they become overwhelmed, and they just abandon it and say, look, this thing is not going to work. But it tests everything. But once you set out and you have a vision, everything begins to fight you. You know, whether it's your health, whether it's your money, these things will deplete. And if you know, like you said, if you have your own reason, you stay the focus, you stay tuned, you just engage. Sometimes you feel like, just saying, screaming that, why did I get myself into this box, into this corner? What, you have to stay tuned. That's right. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you and thank you and thank you. But this chat is very amazing. I'm telling you because you are talking and the thing is generating things in my head. I I said, why did God allow 9 months for
Pregnancy.
pregnancy? And not just boom, boom, tomorrow give birth. Of course,
Yeah.
why shouldn't he do it like that? Why shouldn't he do it like that? I know he's sovereign and he can do it like that, but he
Yeah.
chose to run it through a process.
Yeah.
And
The
of
process.
course, the person coming out to be a matured baby and not a stillborn and all that. And then why did he also, when the child comes out, he stays a couple of months and then he starts to sit down and he starts to crawl and he starts to stand and he
Yeah.
starts to walk and he starts to run. Of course, during the process, he also starts to talk. Why didn't all these things happen at the same time? But then all these things for me is an example to every one of us. If you have a very big dream, a thing, something that will last, like John Maxwell said, it's everything worthwhile is uphill.
It's uphill. Yeah.
Something that will last, something that is genuine, something that is authentic. You have to give it time. You have
Yeah.
to allow time. You have to allow it pass through time. You have to let time test it. You have to be patient to see it get born. You have to be patient to win it. You have to be patient to develop that baby until
Yeah.
a point where the baby has really been nurtured. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
when you were saying that about time, this thing kept coming to mind. You want to say something about that?
Time. Yeah. I mean, time is the greatest innovator.
Yeah.
Everything revolves around time. Um,
Mm,
and if you are not ready to put in the time, nothing will work.
yeah.
Yeah. Which is also to follow the process. The time, and you have to also be mindful of time. You have to respect time. Some people, they're very careless with time. When you go into maybe discussions with them, they will always tell you the weather, there was something that happened. You know, when you have a vision, everything is about time. Even God said, there's a time for everything. The book of Ecclesiastes, there's a time to born, time to die, weep, mourning, everything is around time. And so we have to maximize time. You have to utilize time. You have to, embrace time. You have to, you know, stretch timing. 24 hours. What are you putting into your time? Don't just be, going to gossip. Don't let people just, abuse your time. Don't let them just waste your time. The most successful people, they put in so much, they pack in so much into time. They don't just appear, even they are intentional. They have a journal, they have a diary, they have a to-do list. They put things into perspective. And so that's the mindset. When you don't respect time, you know, there's nothing that is going to work. If you don't respect time, you have an appointment for 9 o'clock, you get there for 12 o'clock, you've already disrupted everything.
Mm,
So time is the greatest innovator. The most successful men and women in the world, they have the same time with those who are not doing well as well. But what has happened for them is that they continue to stretch time, they continue to utilize time, they continue to set goals, they continue to stretch themselves. They don't believe that we have all the time in the world. And so even what we're doing now, we're maximizing time. We're just trying to apply ourselves. So if you're able to use time adequately, you know, even the scripture says there's a set time, there's an appointed time. The sons of Issachar, they understood the times. They're walking in alignment with time. They did not forget that they don't have the luxury of being around forever. Even this discussion that we're having is just for this time. It's just for
yeah.
this time. It's for this season. And so anything that we're saying now is going to be on record, whether in 10, 20 years' time. So what are we going to do even at a time like this? Are we just going to waste it, or are we going to utilize it properly? So I just believe that, if one is conscious of time, then things will begin to fall into place for you. You begin to also become a person of value. If you put so much into your time, if you begin to add value to yourself, add value to others, set goals as to touching lives, a life of significance, not just a life of success, um, then your life becomes a life worth following. But if you just waste time and just you're very careless with time, you're not going to make any impact. Yes, yes. People with purpose are conscious of time.
Thank you very much. Conscious of time. Thank you so much, and thank you so much. I have come to establish that time is one of the greatest assets we have, and of
Yeah,
course, to whoever that wants to make a good impact. Like you said, he has to make proper use of his time.
yeah,
And when it comes to when it's related to vision, the person has to know. Like when I set out some projects, one of the things I ask myself, I pen down is how long am I willing to wait for this thing to manifest?
Hmm.
How long am I willing to wait? Because if it's a business idea you want to set in, and then you set in a short duration that you start making profit in 3 months or 4 months. Meanwhile, the profit mechanism put in place might start in the next 1 year, 2 years, and
Hmm.
you made
There's a
it 3 months.
gestation period.
Yeah, of course, you are going to clash with the process, and of course, you are going to be impatient and you're going to give up the idea, and you are going to conclude that this is not profitable because your time frame framework is not comfortable or is not right to compare to what it's supposed to be. So,
Yeah.
I advise everyone who's watching and listening to us that one of the greatest things you can do is to actually have a good time framework around your vision, and also bear in mind that, like we said, that everything worthwhile is uphill. It takes
Yeah.
time. You don't get into an organization and suddenly you are the top
CEO.
management of the
Yeah.
organization. And even if you come into an organization and you are a top management, it means that you started processing yourself long ago.
Yeah.
So
Let's have a
and
story.
yes, you have to get to that point and gradually build yourself, gradually build your business, gradually build your family, gradually build things up. One of the areas we see this a lot is one of my mentors was talking to me. He asked me a question. He said, "Have you found out that most parents are not good teachers?" I said, "How?" He said, when you have a lesson teacher come to teach your child at home, you see how patiently he's taking your child through that lesson. But when he's the parent, the father or the mother is taking the child through that homework, you will see the impatience. And the child does, are you saying you don't know this thing? This small thing, you don't know it. You know, the person is talking from the years of experience and processes. And the
Hmm.
child has just few years of experience and
Hmm.
process.
Hmm.
So that impatience sets in, and then some parents begin to tag their children as people who are not doing well academically. Meanwhile, you are supposed to give this your child time. It happened to me that when my child was in reception two, one of the days my wife came back and said that the teacher said my child is hyper active, is not focusing in class, that they are going to, she said a lot of things they are going to do. I said, go and tell that teacher if she's not called to teach children, she should resign.
Hmm.
What focus do you need from a 3-year-old boy that that is has sugar rush everywhere? What focus do you need from him? Give yourself time to train the child. See the big picture, like you said, and allow time to pass through,
Oh
and the
yeah.
child will come out well because
Enjoy
you
the
have,
process.
yes, you have done the processes, you have carried out what you are supposed to carry out. Thank you so much. Let's hear the final comments you have to say. We almost our time is almost up. Let's hear the final things you have to tell our viewers, and then we'll wrap it up from here. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you so much for this invite. I am so thankful for the privilege to come here and come and add value on your show. Um, it's quite refreshing for me. I'm always on the other side, but now having to share,
Yes.
it's a privilege. I just want to do a recap, about, following one course until you're successful.
Yeah.
I know you might have different ideas as to what you want to do, but it's also very important that once you receive a vision, you must be able to stay the course. Um, that's very important. If there is nothing you're going to take away from this session, but follow one course. Stay focused. Stay focused. For those who are on a journey, it's going to be quite challenging, but like I said earlier, find a reason, find your own reason. Don't let it be uh, someone else's reason that is driving you. Of course, for those that are in employment, um, you must still find your reason. You must set goals. You must be ambitious. You must have a plan. You must have an agenda. Then, take ownership. Whatever you're doing, you must take ownership. If you don't take ownership of it, it's not going to survive. A parent that has a child, a newborn baby, must be able to nurture that child, must be able to nurture that child. And as the child is growing, you begin to see a beautiful child. But if you are not ready to nurture the child might have health challenges, just like a business, just like a vision as well. Then you must be consistent. Consistent is a game changer. Consistency, it's like you said, it's not a walk in the park.
Yeah.
It's a process. It's a process that you must be ready to stay with the process, no matter what it costs you. Sometimes your resources are lean. Sometimes you lose friends. Sometimes you feel lonely, self-esteem issues. But that's why you must also stay within a network. You must have an accountability partner. You must have mentors and coaches. Nothing that you're experiencing today is not been experienced before. Some people have gone through your journey before, so you can learn from them. Then you can also, like I said, you must understand distractions. There will always be distractions along the way. Distractions, because I said, if you set out uh, on a journey, there will be so much noise as is happening all over the world with the pandemic. There's so much distraction. Social media has not even made it easy. Some people, by the time they set out and hear certain things, or maybe from a blog, they just abandon what they're trying to do. So you must go on your inside. You must have that conviction. Then finally, set your eyes on the big picture. Nothing great happens overnight. You have to have a story. No pain, no gain. Every glory
Yeah.
has a story. Every glory has a story. So that's my beat tonight.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Thank
much.
you very Thank you so
Yes.
much. Thank you for this wonderful time. Well, I'm telling you, I really appreciate your work. I really appreciate your coming in, and everyone, please, let's make sure we share this video with our friends, and of course, let people know some of the things we have discussed today is going to help many. I'm so glad that you came on board. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We're going to wrap it up here today, and I believe that next Thursday we're going to bring you another show. It's going to be amazing. Thank you, and thank you, and thank you. One of the books he has written, we're going to be posting the link in our comment section so that you can also have the time to download it and go through it. It's an amazing book.
Yeah, I
An
just want to
amazing.
jump in and share about
Okay.
books.
All right.
Have books on Amazon, customer retention and experiential approach. We also have selling in crisis. On
Mm.
Udemy, we have world class customer service. The links will be shared here. Fundamentals of business etiquette and personal grooming, and we also have professional selling in crisis. That's on all on Udemy. Um, so I mean, we just and we have a podcast, Leadership Talk with Adegoke. Leadership Talk with Adegoke is on Apple. It's also on Spotify. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So we're going to have the link posted on the comment section so that you have the opportunity to buy them and download it to your mobile or whichever device you are using and go through and read and of course everybody who has great vision and who has made great impact are great readers. So don't forget about that. Thank you so much for joining us in this weekly episode. And next Thursday, we are going to be with you again with another wonderful guest. And I promise you, it's going to get better and better every week. Thank you. God bless you and have a wonderful weekend. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you.